That's what made it all start. Not this one. That's it.
That's it. 15 kilometers in diameter and the size of Mount Everest. The meteor is unknown where it broke off and how it came. But the address he chose is the world. Soon you will witness one of the most important days in history. We are going back millions of years of our time, to the extinction that ended the Cretaceous period and started the Tertiary period.
The end of the Mesoid period to its present appearance. In the era of a temperate and rainy climate that dominated the planet, seasonal differences were not obvious.
The fact that the land was almost at the same level and there were no elevations was effective in this. There were no glaciers at the poles and sea levels were high.
This period was the golden age of the dinosaurs, a period of time when not a single nail was nailed to the earth.
5 million years before the Great Cataclysm, volcanoes on Earth began to become much more active. And as a result, the air became too polluted to breathe because of the gases that formed around them during the fire. Plants have been badly affected by acid rains as well as by dark and dust-covered skies. Many dinosaurs lost their lives due to these bad effects, and many species in the dinosaur family managed to survive again.
It's only for a short time. 65 million years ago is the Day of Judgment.
Here is what will be the beginning of the end for dinosaurs approaching the Earth. 40 times faster than sound. It takes only 2 seconds for meteor to pass through the atmosphere and hit the Earth decently enough to pay attention between the Moon and the Earth for about 2 hours. An incredible light at the beginning on the Earth due to the impact.
The shine is coming out. Giant tsunamis are formed after the explosion, the violence of which is about 1 billion times bigger than the atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki, as if the sun has descended on the Earth.
It is 1.5 kilometers high. Tsunamis also carry rocks under the seas many kilometers away. It is known that the meteor fell on the Yucatan Peninsula of today's Mexico. And in the first seconds, all living things that were there instantly evaporated. In order to better understand the impact of the explosion, if the explosion were in the same place today, it would vaporize those in Texas, deafen those in New York a little further away, and blow out the windows of houses in Argentina. The collision was so violent that if you were on the other side of the world, you would have experienced a big concussion about 30 seconds later, so it was an unimaginably terrible day.
Seconds after the explosion, 70 billion tons of pulverized rock fragments and an ash cloud began to envelop the Earth like a blanket.
At a speed of about 1,600 kilometers per hour, balls of flame and sparks began to scatter around with it. Some died from the effects of pressure, some from the gases released, and some burned to death. For dinosaurs that were further away or were lucky, death was delayed a little longer, but much more difficult days awaited them. After the collision, powdered rock and sulfuric acid completely darkened the sky. The world was covered with a cloud of dust. That's why the temperature around the world has dropped about 26 degrees suddenly. The plant species that could not photosynthesize because there was no light disappeared. With the fragmentation of the food chain, most of the dinosaurs died of starvation after a while. But besides all this, the freezing weather has already been a disaster in itself for them. There was a nuclear winter. If I have to tell you quickly, the The first part started when a small part of the dinosaurs evaporated and died immediately after the meteor entered the atmosphere. The second part was the resulting fireballs, toxic gases and forest fires. But it did not cause the extinction of these species. There were also dinosaurs that lived after the disaster. The third part is the extinction of all species. So was the history of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, which was caused by hunger and freezing cold. So where are the traces of that celestial body that destroyed the dinosaurs on Earth? Today, this place, called the crater, is located on the Yucatan Peninsula of today's Mexico. This crater, with a diameter of 180 kilometers, is thought to be 20 kilometers deep in the ground. The crater was discovered by geophysicists Antonio Camargo and Grand Penfi, who were searching for oil on the Yucatan Peninsula in the late 1970s.
Gulen did not notice anything unusual while flying over Mexico, but thanks to the underground imaging techniques he used, he later noticed something interesting.
A huge crater. But the crater had remained underground over time.
It probably fell into the ocean. Of course, for the accuracy of this, take rock samples from the region, and when looked at, it was seen that a high energy was compressed in the rock.
Moreover, an abundance of iridium elements was found in the region. An element found in abundance in meteorites. When the parents looked at the crater, it was confirmed that after years of conspiracy theories, the crater had finally been found. The criterion that destroyed the dinosaur extinction. Looking at its appearance below the ground, it seems to cover part of the peninsula. A team at NASA, which wants to recreate the explosion that day, is measuring the effects of the meteor in order to find out more. First of all, the speed of the meteor's fall is adjusted approximately. In order to see the impact of the meteor, an environment similar to the Earth's surface is prepared and the explosion is initiated. The effect that occurs after the impact is incredibly large. Considering the actual dimensions of it, it turns out how violent the explosion was. After the explosion, the world is dominated by living beings hiding underground or living there. The disaster of the dinosaurs becomes their miracle. That day was Judgment Day for all the dinosaurs who saw or could not see the explosion. Although they are dead, fossil remains are gradually emerging. In the next video, we will look at what happened after the extinction of the dinosaurs, the incredible fossil remains, their traces in the world and how they were found. Traces of the former owners of the world.